Let's start on the, let's just start second row here. Davis Cordova.
Yeah, Isaiah, just wanted to know, what these last few weeks have done for the offense to kind of get back on track to what you guys were doing, the first few games of the season.
These past 2 weeks we've just been working, ball security, just being efficient, just pushing the ball downfield.
Okay, first row, Bob Brisbillo.
Isaiah, I think it was after the Auburn game, you told us about a mentality switch that you had following the Michigan game. Can you maybe just expand on that more? Did you just have conversations with Coach Jones or Coach Arbuckle or John? You were clearly a different player since that point. Can you just kind of go into more detail of what that was like?
The first 2 games I think I combined like 60 yards. So, that's not very good for me. So, I just had to go back to the drawing board and just reevaluate my process.
Okay, next Bob will go to Jesse.
Yeah, Isaiah, just even through some of the ups and downs of the offense, it seems like you and John have been able to connect in critical moments of games this year. Just what do you kind of attribute that to? Maybe you guys being able to have those kind of connections, and just how much do you value being a guy that can make those kind of plays late in games?
I just tell John, whenever you need me, I'm going to be there. Just so he knows that whenever he needs me, whenever he needs somebody, whenever we need to play, I'm there, I'm available.
We'll stay on this side, Josh McDaniel.
Yeah, Isaiah, you've definitely had a big jump in production since you were at Arkansas last year. I'm just wondering, overall, what led to such a big jump in production, and how have guys like John and Coach Arbuckle helped you do that?
Just the offense. I really love the offense that I'm in, just the way that I'm being used, it's a different way. It was a lot different, than last year.
Okay, we'll go to the far right side, Mason Young, Tulsa World.
Mason Young, Tulsa World. Yeah, Isaiah, you come here after 3 years at Arkansas and being a Fayetteville guy. How much of a step out of your comfort zone was it for you to come here, and just what's it meant to be a part of this team and have the season that you've had?
I would say Norman is pretty similar to Fayetteville. So, I was ready to make a jump, so I was ready, I was good with it, happy to, end up here in Norman.
Okay, Ryan Chapman, right side.
We know that you've been a huge piece of this team, a weapon on punt return, and you're obviously super dynamic, but as a punt returner, what do you need around you to be successful as a punt returner, and when did you kind of realize getting here that you guys are going to be able to be a big piece of this team on that punt return unit?
Before the season, I was pretty cool with, some of the people that were on punt return last year, and they would just tell me, we got guys on the unit that really care about it, and, they're going to go their hardest, and, that really shows on the field. I got lanes, they're doing all the work for me.
Okay, let's go to Colton Sully and then George Stoya.
Yeah, Colton Sully, the Oklahoman. Isaiah, I know this offense maybe hasn't been as pretty as you guys want at times, or even as good statistically, but what makes this offense so successful when, in critical moments when it matters the most?
I would just say it's John. He shows up, whenever we need him the most. He's a really clutch player, and, fourth quarter, I feel like his best time. That's whenever he really comes alive.
George Stoya, Sooner Scoop. Isaiah, you've had some of the biggest moments of the season these past couple of weeks. I don't know what your future holds, if you can come back or whatever, but what will this season mean in having those moments here as a Sooner, looking back at that in your career here?
I was only here, only been here for a year, but, we're not done here. We're not just, showing up for first round game. We got a special team, and, we're gonna go really far.
Go to James Hale in the third row. James Hale in the third row.
James Hale, KC Sports Radio. Isaiah, you guys had some success in that first game against Alabama, but talk about their secondary, what they do in pass coverage, and the matchup that you're going to have with their secondary.
We've played them again before, so, we saw a lot of cover 3, a little less man from them, but, it could change up, you never know, but, in-game adjustments is really big, coming into this game, and, I think we're going to do pretty good, with that.
Okay, Isaiah, we're going to go to a question via Zoom. It's going to be from Jenny Carlson of the Oklahoman.
Hey Isaiah, Taylor was in a second ago, and I asked him about these last 4 games of the regular season. He said he really felt like, for him, the playoffs started 4 games ago, that you guys were in sort of playoff must-win mode. Did you feel that way after you guys lost to Ole Miss?
Oh yeah, I definitely felt that way. You know, especially with some of the things that happened in that game. You know, that I was responsible for. You know, I really felt like I had to flip the switch. You know, that I mean, we had our back against the walls, but I feel like we responded very well.
Okay, any other questions for Isaiah? All right, thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you.